I would like to do this healing session for changing relationship dynamics. And what I have been feeling is a call toward authenticity. There's just this desire to be fully myself, to be fully self-expressed in relationship. And this doesn't have to be with others. This starts with ourselves, but that's my point of awareness, where I no longer feel inclined to spend time with people where I don't feel seen, heard, and understood, and that I have to hide myself or suppress myself or tone down myself. And so I'm wanting to open the doors to relationships where we can feel truly seen and safe. Another aspect is safety, meaning that there is a safe space for that expression that is not going to be shamed, rejected, blamed, or distorted. It doesn't have to be agreed with, but there needs to be a space for it. And that is what I am aware of at this time. And so I want to start by bringing in that space for ourselves, higher powers, that be the guides and angels, the energies, so that we can understand how that feels and feel safe to be our authentic self. I feel it shifting through the heart chakra. There's been like this contraction around the chest. I feel it in the solar plexus. It's releasing this tension and grief almost, like it's a feeling of being peeled over, bending over to hide the truth. It's quite a lot of release of sadness. It's not sadness, is it shame? Hurt? Maybe this is times we were hurt for expressing our truth. And the hurt of rejection, of having to hide. And I see that higher power's energy coming in. With so much understanding and empathy. It sees. It's the energy of being seen and recognized, understood, and cared for. Cared about. It's shifting out feelings of insignificance and not being important in the sacral chakra. Feelings of abandonment, neglect, feeling that deep in the sacral, almost at the sacrum or the tailbone, very lower back. There's a release of restriction, kind of like grasping for air if you had been underwater. A big inhale. I'm actually seeing choking. I don't know if this was from like choking tears or choking to get words out or choking in the self-expression in that previous environment, or with the lack of empathy, lack of understanding, lack of seeing. It's really coming through as seeing. It's causing my hand to shake a little bit. There could have been quite an intense fear. There's a releasing an intense fear, like through my right arm and hand. I think I would describe it as being in an environment where you have no way of communicating, and the fear and of not being able to affect or control or have an effect. It's a feeling of powerlessness and fear. I have to put my hand down, actually. It's interesting, it's all through the right side. I guess this is our masculine side, and where we would assert ourselves and reach for love and reach for help in the right arm. And it feels almost paralyzed in fear and confusion. Kind of like the feeling of knowing nothing you do will work, and panic. You could say kind of. This would be a quite young age, I think. Oh, it could be any age. It could be past life even. But there's a vulnerability, and I think that's because this has to do with asking for help, clarifying our side. Yeah, this is a lot about our perspective, our side, our experience, not being able to communicate that, not being heard and seen. I'm just going to let the energy come through. It's quite comforting, and there's a lot of relaxation that is wanting to come into my body. A lot of release, of letting go. There's also a kind of like neuroses, paranoia, kind of nervous, like when you look over your shoulder and check clocks, like that anxious energy is releasing. the feeling of having to be in control or always trying something. It's not exactly hypervigilance. It's a more proactive energy. It's hard for me to describe it. It is a kind of panic, like a kind of. I laugh because I wasn't really expecting that. It's just a quite fight or flight response that I wasn't really expecting to come up. So I'm just investigating and allowing it to move through, like release. It'd be kind of like trapped. If you were trapped in a house and you couldn't get out and you had to keep looking for a way out, like that's kind of, and like someone was gonna come who didn't want you to get out, and it's a very uncomfortable, fearful experience that is shifting. It could be a metaphor for trying to get out of painful pain and difficult situations, and when you don't have an ability to communicate that way that might feel in your body, this is how it might be felt, even if you weren't, say, trapped in a house. Like, you could even feel trapped in your body with no way of expressing the pain you're in and how to deal with that. I still feel the higher power's loving presence. I feel supported. And understood. It's empathy, a kind of empathy, understanding. It's releasing from that arm. I feel it on the back and the arm and the skin, muscles. I feel taken care of, not necessarily physically. I feel emotionally taken care of. And compassion. But it's really more empathy. Empathy is that ability to know universal feelings. So when someone is hurt or sad, we know what hurt and sad is, and we can understand their hurt and sad. It doesn't need to be explained or reasoned. It's the innate knowing. You don't need a big story. Like it's a subtle experience. And I say this for people who grew up without empathy, without parents that understood emotions, or whatever, or lived in societies, whatever experience was lacking in this. It's releasing in the rib cage on the left side. It's releasing from the left eye. I can feel water, like a small tear, releasing from the left eye and the left left chest or rib cage. It's releasing in the pelvis. I feel it on the left side. I also feel it on the left forehead, the left brain, the left skull, like the left cheek, a lot of places on the left parts of the head and face. This could be maybe where we hid pain so that people couldn't see it or react to it. So if you had, like for instance, pretend you weren't mad or pretend you were happy or pretend you were fine. It's like releasing the tension from the left a cheekbone. I'm not sure what it's called. It's really supporting on a very vulnerable level, on a very intimate level. This is a kind of intimacy. But it's safe. It's a safe intimacy. It's the higher power that is supporting, providing this energy. It's releasing still out of the left hip. This may be where we turned away from connection, where the instinct to reach out is suppressed, so we turn away because we know it will not be met with love and understanding. So there's a release of that turning away, hiding. And any despair associated with that. I feel the despair in the left side, like kind of near the kidney or adrenal gland, like the left belly-ish area, side. It's releasing from the sacral. It feels like the chakra center, it could be ancestral. Like it's the memory center. So past experiences being released. It's very comforting to me. I could almost fall asleep. It's so relaxing. It's still settling through the sacral and the lower back. The spine, the lumbar spine, which is an area where we receive support. It's coming into alignment. This could affect self-worth. You may feel an increased sense of self-worth on a very human, unconditional human level. There may even be a physical straightening of the lumbar spine, because I really feel it shifting. It's very peaceful. I'm just going to allow the higher power to bring any energy in that's needed to complete this process. And just a quick grounding to support the integration of this. And that is all. Thank you.